Welcome back to episode 9 of JuicedCast, a podcast made for resellers by resellers. I'm here with my co-host Saucyy today. How's it going, bro?
Hey DTX, I'm really excited today, man. We got a really exciting guest for you guys today. We're bringing on the owner of Juice today. We got Ben today. How's it going, Ben?
Doing good.
It's amazing that we've gone this far with you guys, helping Juice out with these podcasts and getting to know all you guys, and of course, working with Ben, who's a phenomenal businessman and cook group owner, manager, all that, you name it, he's done it all. So maybe you give us a little intro into sort of who Ben is and that's just to get us started today, and then we'll follow up with some questions for you.
So I'm Ben. I'm the owner of Juice. I've been the owner for the last year and a half, and I've been reselling since 2017. So yeah, that's about it.
Wow. Okay, that is amazing. Yeah. So today we have you on. It's a really special guest we have today. It's not like our ordinary, I guess, like guest that we have where we're really reaching out to a bot owner or whatever it be, someone else in our industry. We're talking directly to someone who is working along the lines of Juice day in, day and night, all the time. So I wanted to know, have you always had a passion for sneakers and the culture?
Yeah, so like I said, I've been reselling since 2017. I think the first ever pair I got was like a pair of Yeezy Zebras. I got them for like retail and stuff. So yeah, I've always been passionate about it. Just more recently, I've always had to focus on the cook group, so I haven't been reselling as much. But yeah, I've always been passionate about sneakers and stuff.
Wow, so that's amazing. Actually, ironically, I think Jalen sort of from Oscar Spots started in a similar fashion with the Yeezy and all that. I think he was going for Yeezys
back
too.
in 2017 when there was tons of drops going on and stuff. When they got hyped.
Yeah, when it was actually possible to hit manual back then.
Yeah.
So it kind of brings me into a question I had for you was, do you have plans to kind of expand within the sneaker industry and maybe take different projects on, such as like even software development or something like that?
Yeah, so me and a couple of developers have been working on an app for Juice for pretty much the last year and a half, for a really long time, to be honest. And we're kind of going to be expanding into where it makes it easier for resellers to actually list items onto platforms like eBay and Amazon and StockX and all those kind of platforms directly from Juice. So also, like, obviously at the moment with Juice, you can get the informations on what kind of items you should be buying and reselling, but now we're going to be expanding into like ways you can actually list your items without having to manually list on lots of different platforms. Mm-hmm. So that's something we plan to kind of launch in the next month or so.
Wow, that's amazing. So like heading towards sort of like more toolbox type of stuff, and I guess making that the reselling experience a lot more easier for everyone, right?
Yeah, and kind of just reinventing the whole like idea of what a cook group actually is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going outside of just, instead of just monitors and information, actually like adding a full package experience where you can list items, you can buy items, there's even going to be a area where you can watch videos and like learn, especially for beginners, because that's something I'm really passionate about, is actually helping people who are brand new to reselling, because I know a lot of these cook groups, they make it super hard to get started. So that's something we've been working on for a while.
That's really smart. Yeah, you know what, honestly, for myself as well, and I'm sure DTX sort of experienced the same thing when we first broke into the industry, and it's sort of how overwhelming it is, right? And I think you do a great job at sort of bridging that gap for everyone, right? So I think I wanted to ask you this as well, is sort of, with all this in mind, when and why did you come up with the idea to start something like JuicedIO?
Yeah, so back when I was reselling, I had an Instagram account. I had like 2,000 followers. and my sales have kind of dried out. And then obviously, since I'm still not 18, I'm 17 at the moment. And back then I was like 15 years old, and PayPal kind of caught on to the fact I was only 15. So they pretty much locked my account with about like 10 grand or so of sales. Like I was doing pretty well at the time. That pretty much put my whole like reselling to a halt. So I just thought, how can I pivot from here? How can I continue being a part of reselling? Obviously I couldn't resell anymore because PayPal had locked my account. So I came up with the idea of Juice to try and help other people. It started off mainly as a service where you'd actually learn, so it's more like a course, and then it kind of expanded onto Discord and just went from there.
So, like, where did the initial idea come from? Did you see other groups or other courses that, weren't good? And,
Yeah,
I can
I think
definitely improve.
I think I saw another Instagram reseller doing his own course. So I was like, oh, I may as well start that. And then it's just kind of grown from there,
Yeah, that makes sense. So, what were you kind of like doing in the past before Juice to kind of attain that success? And like, what would you, what's your advice for someone that's new to the sneaker industry?
So advice to someone who's new to the sneaker industry, I'd say take it slow. Don't jump in with like thousands of dollars to pay for a bot or spend thousands on like a cook group. I think all you need is like a £30 or $30 cook group, and then maybe a free rental that you can get from Juice, or something that's low cost. You don't have to spend as much money as everyone thinks you do, and just slowly learn, get better with your skills. Because especially these days, copying sneakers is like super hard because it sells out quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just taking it slow, not trying to set your expectations too high.
So with that being said, you've been a cook group owner for 1.5 years now. Is that correct?
Yeah, coming up to about 2 years now.
All right, so almost 2 years. You've seen it all at this point, I'd assume. What are
Yeah.
the pros and cons of being a cook group owner?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think probably there isn't too many cons. I think something most people don't realize, like I know a lot of people want to start cook groups these days, is that it is a lot of hard work. It's like running a full-time company. Pretty much I'm full-time on this. We have quite a lot of full-time employees working for us now. It's not as easy as setting up a Discord server and just setting up a couple staff. It takes a lot of time. So I guess the cons would be it takes a lot of time. But to be honest, I enjoy it. And then the pros, I think the pros would just be seeing people's reviews online, just saying how it's helped them, and just seeing like people's success and just helping people, really. I think that to me is the pros.
Wow. Okay. So the overall impact you have, obviously, right? I think that's like what's really key here, right? I think the thing is, for those of you listening right now, what you have to understand is it's not simply just also the hard work, but you also got to have that sort of passion in you, right? When you say
Yeah.
then, like I'd say that, it's also your passion for this industry, for this way of generating an income for many different individuals out there. That sort of makes things easier for you to have your head in the game and always, stick to it, right?
Yeah.
But what would you say is sort of like, for the cook group, what's sort of your day-to-day operations like? Like, for those who are interested in understanding how a cook group runs, what would you say is sort of, how does it work for you?
Yeah, so I like wake up around 9 a.m. I check all of my messages from different staff, different developers. From there, I'll try and get at least 1 to 2 tasks done per day and just developing things. So maybe that might be writing down a new idea for the app that we've been developing, or maybe that might be a meeting with some investors or something like that. It's very kind of corporate almost. It's just the same as running a business pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And then towards the end of the day, I'll just like make sure everything's going all right in the Discord, just check up with some staff maybe, and then just reply to more DMs, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So I know that, a couple minutes ago, DTX touched on sort of your path to success and how it was like. I was wondering if you could share with us maybe, some of your failures or some mistakes, things that you might have encountered throughout your process of reaching your goals. And,
Yeah.
what would you tell other
I
people to change, based on like what you've learned, right? If they wanted to do the same thing that you've done somewhat.
Yeah, so going back to why I originally said making it super easy for the newer resellers to understand. I think when I first started the cook group, I think there was so many different channels on Discord. It was probably pretty hard to understand. So I think the mistakes I probably made were not realizing that you should be helping the newer people rather than people who already understand the industry. So yeah, that would probably be one of my mistakes. I think maybe not focusing on helping the user instead of trying to get sales. I think I did that in the very first few months too much. But I think over the last 6 to 9 months, I've definitely gotten a lot better at focusing on the user instead of the sales part of things, which I don't think a lot of cook groups do these days. So yeah.
So I completely agree with what you said, because the amount of times I've, talked to new resellers and I've, told them join the cook group and they're like, oh, I did, but I left because I was too overwhelmed by the amount of channels, or I was too overwhelmed by, the entire Discord environment. So kind of like what you're trying to say is like create an environment for new users or beginners in the sneaker game, so they're not overwhelmed and they can find themselves like, a sense of community in Juice, which is
Yeah,
really cool.
pretty much.
And as far as Juiced goes, where did you come up with the idea of starting Juice? I know you talked about how you'd see, like, you came up with the courses, you saw IG courses and then you went to a cook group, but like there's a big gap between, having the course and going to a cook group. Where was that breaking point where you're like, you know what, I'm done with doing the courses. It's time to move to a cook
Yeah,
group and
so I think
paying staff
the
and all that.
courses originally, they were like, we would send them out via email, and then I was like, oh, it could be cool if I made a Instagram group chat with all the current people who are getting those emails. So I was like, oh, let me make an Instagram group chat. There was like 15 of those people, and then we started. Yeah, I know it sounds pretty crazy, but there was like 15 of those people, and then I was like, oh, let me do these private Instagram stories that only the people in this Instagram group chat could see. And we were like dropping like limited items that you could buy for like good prices, if you know what I mean. And then it got to the point where there was so many people we would like couldn't even fit them in the Instagram chat. So we were making like 15 different Instagram chats at that point. I was like, bro, this is getting out of hand. Like Instagram chats just aren't made for this type of thing. So then we transitioned to Discord, and it was still kind of like email course slash giving out discounted items. And then I kind of go on to the fact that people were doing these monitors. I saw people doing information, and I kind of realized that seems to be more sustainable. That seemed to help people more. So we kind of just transitioned to a traditional cook group, and over time it just kind of got more and more towards that, really.
Another question I had for you, kind of relating back to this, is what are the difficulties of being a cook group owner in the EU when you have a lot of members in North America?
Yeah, I mean the time zones are kind of a bit annoying, since I have to stay up later to sometimes deal with members that might be PST or EST. And then obviously, since we accept our subscriptions in pounds, some people will be Instagram DMing us, or they'll be emailing us saying, oh, does this group only work for the EU or the UK? Because since we accept subscriptions in that currency, they automatically think, oh, this group must be an EU group or something like that. But in fact, it's actually more towards the US, and obviously there's also EU, but it's a mix instead. So I'd say just the issues of the currency and the time zone are the main ones.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, and you'd assume that there'd be some difficulty along with that. And for anyone that's listening right now, Ben, where can someone go buy a Juice membership right now if they wanted to go do that?
Yeah, so they can either go to JuicedIO.com or Juiced.io, and they can sign up for a subscription if they want.
Perfect. Saucy, you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think that was really sort of, informative today. I really enjoyed sort of our conversation, Ben. Like, today we, as much as we work with you and we get to, get hands-on with sort of JuicedIO on a day-to-day basis and be able to sort of provide for what what you guys need and all that. It's really fun to get to know you a little better today and learn about sort of that success process that it's taken you to get from where you are. I think the funniest part was sort of the Instagram thing. I didn't really take that in consideration. That's pretty funny. But yeah, I think overall today was a really good conversation. I'd love to have you back on in future podcasts. For those of you guys listening, it is definitely a struggle to get Ben on. He is always working extra hard behind the scenes for you guys to give JuicedIO the best content. So that's why it took us this long to get him onto the podcast, but he is here today, and we're really happy.
Thank you, Ben, for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right. Well, as usual, Twitter is linked, socials linked in the description below. But until next time, guys, peace.